Hello and welcome. I am ElDoug. I run Restore and Replay video game preservation. I'm resident cleaning wizard and all kinds of things nonsensical when it comes to cleaning, restoration, and preservation for video games. I work a ton with HitSave, who is bringing you this video today, how to repair and maintain Nintendo systems. I love these kinds of videos. So I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, and these videos were a lot more common at jobs than you would think. I interviewed at a lot of places where they would show you videos. I've worked at a lot of places where they would show you these kinds of videos. I love them. I absolutely love them. The style, the format, everything. If you want high quality instructional videos, look no further than the late 80s, early 90s, where people were just barely figuring out how to make videos. Today, this is how to repair and maintain Nintendo devices, equipment, and stuff, but this actually isn't made by Nintendo. So there's a splash screen that we'll get into in a second that'll show, hey, this is not actually sponsored by Nintendo. This is something we're doing. Now, I've made videos showing how to clean Nintendo controllers before. I need to do an update to that video. I've made videos about how to clean all kinds of different consoles, controllers, games, everything else. But seeing these kinds of videos and seeing the mindset back in the day, I loved it. So when HitSave found this, they said, hey, do you want to kind of do a little let's watch, a little watch along with this and maybe get some commentary and stuff? So without further ado, we're going to get into it and watch this video. And again, I'll chime in, pop in if there's something particularly interesting or something that might not know or you might know. And we'll see kind of how things have grown and progressed since then. But these kinds of videos, even this opening splash screen, just absolute quality. Absolute. And I mean, these were, you would roll in a metal cart into an elementary school classroom and you knew you were going to be learning something. These are always great. And the music's good too. It's like a cop drama. Nintendo Entertainment System Repair and Maintenance by Electronics. 1992. Solid year. Yeah, this is just basically their CYA saying if you break something, it's our bad. A lot of companies made stuff like this back in the day. A lot of tech companies, this kind of tech companies, AV companies and things like that made these. And then here's the disclaimer that says they are not affiliated with Nintendo of America and hasn't been approved or endorsed or anything else. Nowadays, Nintendo would probably just sue you for this, realistically. Sad but true. They'd probably just sue and say, nope, you can't make something like that. You can't make a video called How to Repair and Maintain Nintendo. It's all copyright stuff. So let's see.
Hello, and welcome to Nintendo Repair and Maintenance.
Hello.
In this presentation, we will approach several common Nintendo Entertainment System problems and present to you the most likely solution to correct it. As you will soon see, most Nintendo problems will be quite simple to solve.
All right, so I'm going to stop right there. This is how the videos looked even back then. So in 1992, if you were to be sitting in front of a TV watching this video and you got the videotape brand new, this is what this would look like. I was there. We'll not talk about how old I was, but this is what it would have looked like. And at the time, it was like, oh man, this looks really good. I'm not going to beat this guy up. I'm going to try not to beat this guy up too much because at the time it was, so 92, so they had the consoles for, I don't know, I can't do math on the fly, 7 or 8 years at tops. So they had some time to be able to get into some things. They kind of figured some things out and knew the common repair stuff. Realistically, they should probably have known. Well, let's get into it. Let's keep going.
Let's have a look at the topics we'll be covering. Cartridge disassembly and cleaning.
Whoa.
Number 2, power supply testing. Number 3, controller rebuilding. Number 4, control deck disassembly. Number 5, brazing or cleaning the 72-pin connector.
This is burnishing.
Number 6, replacing the 5-volt regulator and diode bridge.
All right.
Number 7, testing and replacing the RF modulator. And finally, number 8, control deck reassembly.
Okay, so this list is actually not terrible. It jumps up quite a bit. There is a skill level that jumps up pretty quickly. So cartridge disassembly and cleaning, yeah, absolutely. I bet you anything I know what they're going to do. I bet you I know. Power pack testing, yeah, makes sense. Controller rebuilding. Controller deck assembly. So the console itself for ages was called the control deck, which I guess I don't really know when they switched. If you know when they switched, let us know in the comments. I'm always interested about this one. Burnishing the 72-pin connector. It's wild to me that even back then they were like, I gotta burnish it. I understand the logic because it was brass and everything else at 555. And then replacing the 5-volt regulator, a fairly common thing, but I imagine there were a bunch of repair stores that were mad about number 6. And then testing and replacing RF modulator. That's a super, super common one that even nowadays, why would you be running RF? But even nowadays, it's one of those things that, like, yeah, you got to kind of knock that out. And then it's nice that they tie it back off with the control deck reassembly. So they show you how to break it apart, get through everything. And what's interesting too, I swear I won't ramble, but what's interesting too is that at this time, you didn't have bromine discoloration because this was 92, so it was still a ways off. So you didn't really have to do too much of the cleaning. There is an official Nintendo control deck cleaning kit, and then there is a controller cleaning manual, and then there's a cartridge cleaning kit. There's, I think, 2 for the NES. Yeah, there's 2. And that was like Nintendo's like, hey, you should use this. What's funny is even back then, it was felt nice pro alcohol. So let's get into this. Let's see. Cartridge disassembly and cleaning should be a pretty straightforward one. I'll be curious if they call it a game bit because it wasn't really called a game bit driver until then. So let's see.
Before we begin, please take note of the following precautions and suggestions.
Oh, yeah.
Before opening the Nintendo console, make certain that the power is disconnected. It is also a good practice to disconnect all other cables as well.
It's open.
Many internal components of the NES are static sensitive. Before removing the cover, make sure that your work area and your body is static free. We recommend spraying your bench with an anti-static spray.
Ugh.
Available at many electronic and computer stores.
Gimmick.
Anti-static straps can be worn around the wrist or ankle and then attached to a ground source,
Those I don't hate.
such as a water pipe.
Where are you cleaning?
Our first item of interest will be disassembly and cleaning of a cartridge. A cartridge with dirty contacts may not work at all or work erratically. Typically, when you power up the console, garbage will be displayed on the screen.
All right, hang on real quick. I don't want to spoil it for you. The thing on the right, while you're watching this, see if you can tell what it is. My dad had one of these, and I was too stupid to know what this was looking at this right now. And then when he uses it, I'm like, oh, okay. The kit on the left, what would you expect? Of course, they're gonna clean electronic components like it was, a server rack. Well, not a server rack, like it was an electronic component or something. Like it was a power supply regulator or something. Of course, they're gonna use those same approaches and that same logic. So, especially when they get to the burnishing thing, it's just like, oh my gosh, what are you guys doing? But realistically, that's what they knew how to do at the time, and so of course they're gonna use those things. But yeah, while we're watching this, keep an eye on the thing on the right and see if you understand what it actually is.
Or sometimes nothing will be displayed, and the power light will be flashing. Here's a look at the tools and supplies we'll need. Some burnishing fluid, a burnishing tool for cleaning the contacts, a star driver tool or similar device for removing the screws on the back of the cartridge,
Vague.
and a cordless screwdriver can be handy.
Who says it?
Opening the cartridge is actually quite simple. On the back of the cartridge, you'll notice 3 screws. 1,
sometimes 5.
2,
Sometimes
and
5.
3. Using the star driver tool, loosen all 3, but don't remove them.
I don't remember. Wildly unnecessary. I don't remember if there was just a standard star bit at the time or not. Now it's 3.8 millimeter bit or a game bit. Thankfully, it's a skill drill, so it's not going to break anything, but don't use a drill.
After that's done, simply grab the front and lift it up. You can remove the cover and put it to the side.
And you got to pull back, but okay.
Now the inside of the cartridge is exposed. Remember, before you touch this part, make sure you're static free.
It's good It's good information. It's just funny.
You'll notice some contacts on the front here, and some contacts on the other side as well.
Just kidding.
These contacts oxidize and need cleaned. Looking at a close-up view of the contacts, you'll notice some oxidation and dirty surface area here, along the bottom. This dirt is what causes all of the problems.
Well, not all of the problems, but I get it. It's also just kind of funny because it's a very dramatic approach. So first and foremost, put something under the cart so the label is protected. Microfiber towel, something. Put that, because goodness, but that's fine. Nowadays, and we'll see what these cats do, but nowadays, when it comes to cleaning the brass, my suggestion is always, if it's just a little dirty like this, where it's just like, yeah, it's a little dirty, a pink eraser, scrub it along the side, brush all that stuff off, and you're good to go. When do you need to use isopropyl alcohol? You would want to use isopropyl alcohol if it's built up and you can't get the pieces of corrosion and the actual discoloration off. You can get some isopropyl alcohol there. Now, if you were to take isopropyl alcohol and put it on a Q-tip and scrub it, or put it on a toothbrush and scrub it, is that going to hurt anything? No, not at all. But it's one less chemical that you have to deal with, that kind of thing. These guys are going to get into burnishing, which burnishing is something that I took in like industrial tech classes probably in the 90s. And you'll see that it makes sense because it is what you do in the brass world. But outside of the brass world, it's a bit of overkill. I always try to go for the simplest and then escalate up from there. But I mean, back then it was, who would have figured you could just use, a rubber eraser to knock it all off, that kind of thing. So we'll get into it. Again, I'm not going to judge these people because it was 1992. I was dumb in 1992. Again, we're not going to talk about how old I was, but 1992, we were still figuring out a lot of this stuff out. So it makes sense. Let's keep going.
Take your burnishing tool and dip it into the solution. Using a gentle motion and light pressure, clean all of the contacts.
So real quick, what he's doing is essentially just what you would be doing with your isopropyl alcohol. To really summarize it down, to really dumb it down, is that you're using a light solvent and an abrasive pad. That's what the warning was before, where it said, hey, don't use any harsh chemicals or thinners or anything else, because that's going to strip a lot of things off. But ultimately, it's a light solvent and a little bit of scrubbing, and you're good to go. Those 1-Up cards, I don't know if I should spoil the secret for everyone or not. Those 1-Up cards, it's basically just a type of felt and then some isopropyl alcohol. The felt is used as the abrasive to scrub off any material, and then the isopropyl alcohol is used to break up that material. So think of corrosion kind of as like icing that's like hardened on something. And so you pour on the isopropyl alcohol, and that just gets it wet and kind of starts to break it up and breaks up the surface tension. And then you'll come in with your abrasive pad or whatever, and it'll scrape it up, that kind of thing. You can approach it in a lot of different ways, but back then they were like, well, it's brass, so we're going to burnish it because that's what you do to clean brass. But you would also want to be careful. So those are bare fingers, and you're touching burnishing chemicals, which are a solvent. So it's weird that they're like, hey, be safe, be safe, be safe. And then they're running, no gloves at all. Always wear gloves. Honestly, even if you're using isopropyl alcohol and you're just scrubbing a cart or a cartridge or something, put on some gloves. One, because you don't want to get the isopropyl alcohol in any cuts or anything. I also need to pronounce isopropyl a little bit better, because horrible, horrible Southern Ohio accent. But you also want to make sure that as you're scrubbing things up and you're scrubbing up your corrosion, there's dirt, debris, and everything else on there, that you're not getting that onto your skin and getting that, into cuts or fingers or anything else. The edges of these carts are so sharp sometimes. I don't know if you guys have seen. They're so sharp where I'll get real tiny little micro cuts, not even realize it until I go to put on the isopropyl alcohol. So long story short, put on some gloves. Look out for your hands. They're the only two you got. You can't regrow them. Let's keep going.
When you're done, your contacts should be bright and shiny and clean, like these.
All right.
Cartridge assembly is simply the reverse of the disassembly.
There's a whole thing that's going on up there. You have to slip in 2 little hooks into a... it's fine.
We'll now take a quick look at the power pack. Obviously, a dead power pack would produce no video output and no illuminated power LED.
Okay. So this is something that particularly bugs me about a lot of repair videos, is that we've gone from, I mean, the burnishing is a jump up, but we've gone to, all right, get out your multimeter. Also, that's an old multimeter. Get out your multimeter and hook up your cables and components to it. And you're like, well, hang on, I was just, and so it's that increase in scale. This video more than likely was for those VCR repair stores, things like that. So back in the day, back in the 90s, you would have like a store where it would just be like a resident tinkerer and techie kind of guy. My uncle had one where they would just fix things. They would fix electronics, they would fix appliances, they would fix all this kind of stuff. Doesn't really exist that much anymore. It was around a whole bunch back in the day. And so this video is a lot for those kinds of guys that are comfortable using a multimeter, comfortable using some burnishing chemicals and things like that. So the information that he's going to give is how to test the power pack. But at the same time, if the power pack's not working and you verify that the power pack's not working, there's your answer, so kind of go from there. You can test it if you want to. I can't tell you how many times that I'll see that something doesn't work, bring out the multimeter, put it on the multimeter verifies, yeah, it doesn't work. I'm, oh, okay, great. So let's see what he says.
When a meter is placed on the coaxial plug of the power pack, the pack should output 9 volts AC, plus or minus about 1 volt.
Oh.
When the controllers begin to wear, erratic operation will result.
Okay, so I guess he's just identifying that if, that's a weird jump, if your power pack is not reading the right signal, then it doesn't work. Cool. So controller rebuilding. I don't like this already because I see the membrane sticking out here. So before we get into it, to clean these membranes, unless they are like absolutely wrecked, to clean these membranes, little black spots on all those, just scrub that along a piece of paper. They can get built up, they can get stuff on them that'll make it so that they have a harder time reading. You just wipe that stuff off and you'll have little black streaks on your piece of paper. It's good to go. Pop it back in here. And technically, controller rebuilding, we never unbuilt it, but let's see what he says.
The buttons may stop working altogether, or you may have to push them with extra force to get them to work. This is a common indication that the pads inside the controller are wearing out and need replaced.
That same screwdriver.
These pads are available from many distributors at a nominal cost. After obtaining the kit of replacement pads, the process is quite simple.
You don't have to do that. You could just clean them.
Turn the controller over, and you'll notice 6 small Phillips head screws. Remove these.
I have that same exact screwdriver. I gotta find it. I'll take a picture of it. It's a Craftsman. It's the blue on the bottom, and then it's those things. That thing's probably older than me.
After the screws are removed, simply lift off the back cover.
The pigtail will come flying out for no reason at all. Ooh, it stayed.
If you'll take the brown PC board and turn it over...
It ain't that easy, is it? There you go.
You'll expose the pads.
Take those out, scrub them.
At this point, simply lift out the old pad and replace it with a new one at a time.
All right, money bags. If you're there, clean out the buttons too. Pop that button out, scrub the sides of it, scrub the hole itself.
The black dots must be facing up.
Which would be down if you're thinking of it. Like that. Yeah, but scrub out the buttons while you're there. What are you doing, buddy? And scrub out the little holes. They would too. They would point at something on the video, and you could not see what they were pointing at. And you're like, oh, okay. And pull those out. Those pop out. Scrub those on the sides. A little soapy water. Okay, no. All right. Yep.
When your pads are in place, replace the circuit board, taking care not to pinch any of the soft rubber parts.
I totally have that screwdriver. That is crazy.
We are now ready to move on to control deck disassembly. Once again, be sure that there is no power to the unit and that you and your area are static free. On the bottom of the NES, you will locate 6 Phillips head screws. 1,
Oh boy.
2, 3, 4, 5,
Look at that gold
and 6.
watch.
Remove or loosen all
This guy's
6.
got some drip going. Again, towel on the countertop. I don't know about you, my countertops and work surfaces get filthy. So I never like putting something directly down on there. Or those rubber mats. Is that Rolex? Who is this guy? This guy probably owned a 3DO. Rich.
Once all 6 are removed, gently lift up the bottom.
That never goes that well. There you go.
With the unit now upright, we'll notice a metal shield across the top, down the sides, and it extends out slightly.
So they don't really say...
This needs to be removed.
They don't really say
7 screws hold it into
what
place.
the shielding is. It's just RF shielding. It's to help reduce signal interference.
1, 2,
Which I guess you don't
3.
care if you're repairing it, but a little Faraday cage for my Nintendo.
4, 5, 6, and 7. Remove these.
They're going to jump cut. Oh no, we're going to sit with it. All right. Ah! I saw that.
After the last screw is removed, gently lift the shield out.
Well, watching this, I wonder if at this point, Kazudak got really annoyed at the bouncing of the image.
We're now going to remove the main PC board, cartridge holder,
Tracking.
and other associated components. 8 screws hold all this into place. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
They're there, I promise.
Many of the screws you remove in the NES will be of the same length, with the exception of these 2 here on the cartridge holder. There's also 2 identical screws on the opposite side. Go ahead and remove these first.
Yeah, that's a form of manufacturing that does not exist anymore, where it was like, hey, we're going to build everything with the same size screws. It's close. It's not as close as 80s and 90s electronics, where it was like, oh, design it assuming, you know, M5, 5 mil or whatever they are.
And if we look at these 2 screws, we'll notice that the innermost screw
A 5 mil screw, that's a stupid size.
is longer. Which is this screw here.
Yeah, this one's always tricky, and this is one of those where...
Be certain when you replace them, the longer screw goes into here, the shorter screw goes into here, and the same on the opposite
Film it,
side.
take pictures, get a mat with little
After
storage
all
containers.
8 screws have been removed, grab the unit from the outside edges and lift it out.
There you go.
And turn it over. We'll now notice one more shield on the bottom.
There's so many shields.
We'll now notice 2 connectors on the side. Gently pull and remove the 2 connectors.
I mean, they made these easy, you know? They made these...
The shield can now easily be removed.
Yeah. I guess I shouldn't say they made them easy. They made them open.
We're now going to remove the 72-pin connector. Turn the board over and be certain not to handle the IC chips. Here we'll locate the cassette holder. That can now be removed by placing your thumbs behind it and pushing it gently forward. While you have it out, check it for proper operation.
Yeah, that plastic white part is sometimes can get kind of gouged if you jam things down too much, so you can just wipe it off.
We can now easily see the 72-pin connector here.
Here we go. Showtime.
It attaches to the PC board with another cartridge connector on the bottom. This can also now be easily pushed off with your thumbs.
He's trying real hard to not touch the board. There you go.
You are now looking at one of the most common sources of Nintendo problems.
All right, hang on. It's 1992, and even back then, people were like, man, this piece is the most annoying piece ever. Nowadays, okay, so you have scrubbing, you can reburnish it by hand if you want to. You can scrub it, you can clean it, you can boil it. There's a million, billion of those kinds of things. Just replace it. If you're listening to this right now and you're like, oh, I'm going to fix up my Nintendo, just replace the pin connector. Modern pin connectors that they make are in such better quality and condition. Just replace it. There's a whole host of companies that are making them, that are making aftermarket ones. It is such an easy piece that it was frustrating that it was the source of such a problem. It's just funny because it's like a guy from 1992 and me are connecting like, same brother, this is the worst thing ever, blah, blah, blah. So just replace it with a brand new piece. When I'm repairing or fixing up consoles, there's a lot of times where I'm like, well, I want to use the original parts and pieces, and I don't like to use modern stuff whenever possible. So you won't see me do like HDMI mods or RGB mods or anything else like that. Like, I like to keep things as close to the original as possible, even if that means taking parts and pieces from other consoles, whatever it takes to make this, authentic. This is the one exception in the Nintendo Entertainment System control deck. This is the one exception, is that you can put new, like springs and stuff, obviously, but you can put new pin connectors in there and no one will judge you. So let's see what these guys do.
The 72-pin connector, as with the game cartridges, can get oxidized and dirty. The pins inside can break and bend, causing similar symptoms as a dirty cartridge. At this time, a close inspection of the connector needs to be made. If you locate bent pins, do your best to bend them back into place very gently. A jeweler's screwdriver can be useful. If pins are broken, the entire connector must be replaced.
Yeah.
In many cases, you will not find any broken or bent pins, and the connector simply needs to be cleaned. Both rows need to be cleaned well. There are cleaning devices available to insert into the NES, but they only clean the top row of pins.
It's true.
Disassembly is the only way to clean both rows and clean them well.
That is true, actually.
The connector is cleaned in a similar fashion to cleaning a game cartridge. Once again, using a burnishing tool, dip it into the burnishing fluid. Start with the top row of pins, inserting the tool fully into place.
Gloves.
Once again, using a gentle in and out motion, clean the pins.
That burnishing tool's a little too thin. I mean, it'll work because it's the solvent that's doing all the work, but
be careful not to move too rapidly sideways, or you could bend a pin.
it's also hard to see if it's actually too thin. It just looks too thin.
After thoroughly cleaning the top row,
But
top and bottom pins, Clean the bottom row in the same fashion.
Yeah. That might not be too thin.
And after you're done, inspect for bent pins.
Yeah, I mean, just replace the whole thing.
Now that the 72-pin connector is clean, we can clean the card edge connector on the PC board, which is here. This is where the inner half of the 72-pin connector connects to the board. Its contacts will also oxidize and get dirty. Once again, using a brazing tool and some gentle brazing fluid, clean the contacts.
So, I mean, he's doing it because of the camera angle and everything, but you actually are going to scrub a little bit.
When you're done with the top side, flip it over and do the bottom.
I should do a video on burnishing. It's totally useless, but whatever.
We're now going to address the problem of no power. Again, you'll remember that we tested the power pack earlier. If the pack was outputting around 9 volts, there are 2 other common problems that we can consider. The first is the 5-volt regulator. It's located next to the RF modulator. The regulator is here. It's very easy to spot, as it's connected to a large heatsink. If this regulator fails, power will be lost.
Are we going to swap it?
Replacing the regulator is simple.
For real?
First, remove the small screw at the top.
What?
Then, desolder the legs and replace it with a new one.
Ah. I was like, oh, he's going to show the whole... Just desolder this. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, it's an easy thing. I just thought we were going to get to see him solder.
The OEM number for this common regulator is HA17805. It's a 5-volt regulator.
Yep.
And it's available through most electronic distributors at a very nominal cost.
Super common. Yeah, super common.
2 other common replacements are ECG 960 and the LM7805.
And these numbers are probably still around, but...
Our second common power failure occurs inside the RF modulator housing, which is here. For this inspection, the modulator needs to be removed. Simply desolder the housing at these points.
Okay, so it was all about you for a little bit, but now here we are. This is the one part that kind of gets me, is it's like, we're going to show you how to repair and maintain a Nintendo system, and then you get to a point where you're like, desolder this and then resolder it. Could you show me? No? Cool. Okay. Again, this is straightforward stuff. The modulator is easy to swap. You know, these are all things that are easy enough to swap, and there's aftermarkets aplenty for a lot of these things if you want to stay stock. Hey, if you want to stay stock and you want to still run RF, good on you. There's parts out there for you. Go get it. Have fun. It's also a super easy thing to do. It's a fun way to learn console repairs and everything else. But again, this just tells me that this is a video that's made for like a repair store. So it makes sense.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Hey, pop all those solders. Whole thing drops out.
Remove the modulator itself and pull off the top cover. On many of the circuit boards designated NES CPU 07, you will find a diode bridge rectifier inside. Looking inside the modulator housing, you will notice the 4 diodes which form a bridge. They convert the 9 volts AC from the power pack to 9 volts DC. These diodes can frequently overheat
Yep.
and burn out.
They just get old.
Test these with a meter. These diodes can be replaced with most any common power diode. We recommend a rating of 1.5 amp or higher.
Yeah.
Simply desolder
And you
on the
can go
opposite
higher.
side and replace it, taking note of polarity. On many main boards designated NES
Oh, I see what they're doing.
CPU 06, you will find a different type of rectifier. You'll notice this is not 4 diodes, but an enclosed bridge.
I don't know which one I've seen more of, honestly.
Its OEM number is BA20.
But also you could just replace the whole entire RF modulator.
It'll cross to an ECG 5314 and is commonly available through many electronic part distributors. Now looking at the opposite side of the board, you can see the 4 spots to desolder. One is here, 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 and the last here. Once again, observe polarity when replacing.
No explanation.
The final Nintendo failure that we are going to discuss is the RF modulator. We have just shown you how to remove it. To access the bridge rectifier,
Yeah. Or you can replace just the whole entire thing. Like you could do this, and back then they didn't have replacements for the RF modulator. 2025, swap the whole thing.
to diagnose a defective one will require us to go back to when our unit had not been disassembled. Our unit powers up and the power light is on steady. But we have only audio or only video, or we have the absence of both. Our TV is hooked up to the RF out on the NES, and our TV is on channel 3 or 4.
Aren't you missing something?
To determine if it is in fact the modulator, we will have to try a different setup. Using a monitor type TV, hook up the individual or composite signals.
So this is another one of those, it's assuming you have a bunch of other things in this space, which is fine. I get it, whatever. It's fine. But this is another one of those where they're assuming that you have additional things that you can try it with. If you just have a TV in the rumpus room and that's all you got, you know, you have to assume things aren't working. You can't just swap it as easily as this kind of makes it, especially back then. Shit, 1992? I think we had one TV in the house. I definitely probably only had one TV in the house. So I didn't have the ability to hook it up to another monitor. Again, this is totally a video for repair stores and stuff like that. I get it. It's not for, you know, your regular household consumer, which it being electronics and them being a distributor and everything else, it makes sense. But I could get how some people would see this video and be like, oh, I can repair my consoles. And they're like, hook it up to a monitor. And they're like, what? I don't know. So let's see what he's got.
From the NES to the video and audio in on the TV. If everything is working fine, the chances are great that the modulator is bad and needs replaced. Resolder in a new one in the same fashion that you removed it. This should correct your problem. Let's now have a look at reassembly. Step number 1 in reassembly is to replace the bottom shield.
Yeah, he's got it angled at the camera and then he's behind it. This always sucks. This is why I film the way that I do, because I'm not smart enough to work backwards.
Now that that's complete, replace the 3 connectors. 1, 2, and 3.
I mean, it's wild how simple these consoles were back in the day. I mean, obviously, you look at the board and you're like, are you kidding me? This thing's crazy. But realistically, the actual hardware functionality itself.
Now replace the 72-pin connector. The smaller side will go down against the card edge.
But I mean, back in the day, like, if you would have shown this to someone in 1992, they'd be like, do you have a doctorate in video game repair? Because this is crazy.
Now slide the cassette or cartridge holder into place.
That one's easy to do that direction.
And make sure the screw holes line up in the back.
But yeah, I mean, this kind of stuff, companies had to figure this stuff out. They would open it up and...
We'll now reseat the entire assembly into the bottom half of the Nintendo case.
Yeah, they would open up the console and be like, okay, I know what this is. I won't get into a tangent about how that's kind of a lost skill. Reverse engineering is a lost skill, but if you know how to reverse engineer, you can get a very well-paying job right now.
We'll now replace the 6 screws around the cartridge housing. 1, 2, 3, and 3 on the other side. And remember, the longer screws go to the inside holes.
It won't let you, if you put the long one in the short one, it won't let you do it all the way anyway, so it's kind of a fail-safe.
Next, replace the 2 screws by the RF modulator. 1 here, and 1 here. The upper shield can now be replaced, followed by the 7 screws that held it into place.
It never goes into place normally. There's always like a little, yeah.
We're now ready for the top cover and the 6 screws that held it into place. Be sure that you do not pinch any wires when replacing the cover.
It's also funny that it's just those loose wires. They didn't have like a harness or anything. It was just a little electrical tape holding the individual bundles together, but the rest of it. But again, they also Nintendo didn't really think people would open this stuff. So
that's going to wrap it up for this session of Nintendo Repair and Maintenance. We hope you'll find many of the procedures helpful.
That cop drama music. Yeah, so real quick, authorized Nintendo service centers, it was a thing, and there's a video out there of the Nintendo repair counter, and it's a dude at a Nintendo repair counter just talking about average things. Totally a common thing, like totally and absolutely really common thing, where people would take their consoles and you'd go into like a Sears. Well, I can't use Sears. I got to modernize it. Imagine if you took it to like, I don't know, imagine if you took it to like a Macy's and you walked in and you were like, hey, my Nintendo isn't working. There would be a counter dedicated to selling Nintendo games and consoles, and you would have a service center there. You'd have a person there that could like help troubleshoot and everything. And that was a job. Like that was totally a job. One of my first jobs I ever had, I was managing a KB Toys. Yeah, we're getting real close to talk about how old I am at this point. And there were some KB Toys that could do some basic repairs to some basic things. By the time I got in to KB Toys, they had started to close, but we still had a lot of the parts and pieces there that you could use to repair stuff. Fast forward to me working at GameStop for a million bajillion years, because that's a big part of my background. And a lot of those same repair kits were also in those as well from the service centers. And it was just ones that, the Nintendo service center would close and it would be like in a Sears or something. And in EB Games or a Funko Land or a Babbage's or someone would buy it up, and then it would just kind of live and exist ad infinitum kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, back in the day, it was a really common thing to have a repair store. So you'd either go to a store, someone would repair it, or you would go to this counter and repair it. Not nearly as painful as I thought that it would be. I think the big thing to take away is that a lot of this stuff, the people that developed this video and the people that developed these kinds of things, they probably had a repair manual. Nintendo was pretty good about making those. But a lot of this stuff you have to figure out on your own. And so a lot of the repair and fixing stuff that we do nowadays, especially when it comes to the newer consoles and stuff, is stuff that we have to figure out. Because right now we'll just return it to the store and get it fixed, that kind of thing. And so there is a lot of groups out there that are really focusing on how do I fix and rebuild and do all those kinds of things, and how do I get smart about that. And it's something that's been around forever, and that's a big part of preservation. Preservation is not just, here's a soapbox. Preservation is not just, I've documented this information or I've saved this information or whatever. There's a lot of preservation that is the skill sets and knowledges of how to repair this correctly and effectively, rather than just, modding something. So super interesting video. I love to see these. I love these so much. I'm going to do a video in the near future where I sit and talk about all the different cleaning kits that Nintendo made. There's a ton. It's just such a fascinating world of how people were repairing stuff back in the day, how people were repairing stuff in the future. So that'll wrap it up for us for now. that didn't have a very long end credits or anything with the fun cop music. So as always, I am ElDoug, ElDoug. You can find me on all of the social medias out there. Check out Restore and Replay, video game repairs and everything else. I have a channel on Hit Save's Discord as well for repair and restoration. If you have any questions, want to know how to do anything, fixes or anything else, hit me up on there. And as always, definitely hit up Hit Save on their social medias, Hit Save the website, Discord. They're on all of the things as well. Video game preservation is a huge passion of mine, so make sure that you are getting involved, learning and understanding as much as you can, and check out the live stream. They didn't even ask for me to mention this one, but the 24/7 Hit Save live stream is one of my favorite things ever, because it reminds me of back in the day going into game stores and them having a TV that's showing, trailers and commercials and reels and stuff. And so Hit Save has that on their 24-hour stream. You can find it on YouTube and Twitch. And it's awesome. It's all the old video games and videos and everything else. It just reminds me of the days where E3 was a big deal. All right, so that'll wrap it up for us and for me right now. Thanks for sticking out and paying attention. And as always, keep preserving and keep cleaning. Thanks, everyone. See ya.